Once again, we are live. Extremely sorry for the delay, but I guess the good news is that we are all set and ready to rock this evening once again. So, this is Elroy Gonsalves welcoming the entire training fraternity to episode 6 of Conversations That Impact, and truly keeping with our motto and the objective of this session or this season. Well, for all those who are going to attend this episode, I am sure that you are going to have one episode which is surely going to impact you, right? Not only with the learnings, but I'm sure that if you implement the learnings that you take from this episode, it's going to make a big difference to your bank account too. So make sure that not only that you run with us through the entire episode, also make sure that you can actually tag your trainer friends. Because if you find value in these episodes of this season, I am sure every trainer, every person who is part of your circle deserves to have the very best. So please like, share, create watch parties, do whatever you feel would be the best for the people whom you care and love about. All right. And on that note, I would like to welcome our guest speaker this evening. Of course, the beauty of him is one, uh, I personally couldn't guess his age. It doesn't really say much about my guessing at the age, but nevertheless, if you find him, when you come across you, I'm sure you'll find him to be a very, very interesting person. He is the author of The One Invisible Code and also the founder of Simply 5 Sales. On this note, I welcome our guest speaker this evening, Mr. Sharat Sharma. All right. Hi, Sharat.
Hey man, super excited to be with you today.
I am sure, and along with me, I guess everyone who is viewing us is going to really have a lot of takeaways from this session. So, looking
Absolutely.
forward to one rocking evening.
Absolutely. Super excited to add value to my community. A group of trainers, I always enjoy talking to them. So looking forward to a great interaction with you.
So, keeping with our theme, which says sales during market disruptions, all right, we are in such a phase, no doubt. But what we're going to do is this session of the entire episode of an hour is going to be divided into one, what would be the ideal that a sales or a trainer,
Mhm.
the kind of practice that that person should follow. And then, of course, we look at the second aspect that now that the tide has changed,
All right.
what is it that the trainer should now be careful about?
Mhm.
Is that good?
Super. Absolutely.
All right. So
So in fact, before you,
to start off with the
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Right.
yes, tell me, tell
So
me.
before we start, the kind of conversation I love having is I
Mhm.
always say, when I get into a training as well, I always say, जो भी कुछ कहूंगा सच के सिवा कुछ नहीं कहूंगा. Right. So we start the training that way. So I'm going to start the conversation that way. Let's have fun. Let's talk. Let's have a very candid talk. I haven't prepared for it. I'm just going to say what comes to my mind, right? So and that's what I feel is the best conversation to have.
I'm sure Sharat is lying. He's prepared for this day, I guess, for the last 12, 15 odd years.
12, 15. Yeah. I'm glad that you didn't reveal my age.
So let's not be so candid also. So let me
Super.
start off with this first question, Sharat. This is, I believe, is a mindset of quite a number of Indians, is that when we talk about sales and a salesman, for some reason, we look down upon that particular job. But
Absolutely.
otherwise, besides that role, I believe every other job function is only a support function. Sales is the one who actually generates revenue. What is your take on it as to why is it that we are in such a situation in India, at least in India?
Super. So I'm glad that you said that last sentence, right? At least in India. To just share a little perspective out there, if you
Mhm.
travel outside of India, outside of Asia, the perspective is very different. People look up to the salesman because salesmen add oxygen to the business. Salesmen actually do the things that that no most people don't do. They face most number of rejections in their life than anybody else, right? In countries like US and UK, they are given a lot of respect, right? From the automobile sales guy to the insurance sales guy, they are given a lot of respect and honor. But unfortunately, because of some of the deeds that we have done in the past, we are looked down. And I'll tell you an interesting thing. Every time I do a training, I do an exercise and I tell them, write down what comes to your mind when you think of a salesman.
Mhm.
And guess what are the answers? can you
I'm
can you guess what are the answers? And if the audience is watching me live, then go ahead and in the comment section tell me what do you think of whenever salesman comes and knocks at your door.
I'm
So what
sure
comes
it's
to
not
your
a very
mind?
positive feeling.
Positive, not a very positive feeling, right? So here is the list of things that they talk about. Nasty,
Uh-huh.
right? Shrewd, right? Not very
Okay.
friendly. They actually steal my personal space. They are trying to make money out of me. All the negative things on this planet, they talk about that, but they never talk about somebody like a problem solver. They don't talk about
Okay.
value creator. They don't talk about a partner who is helping, a consultant. They don't talk about these words. Now, and I'm talking about sales guys saying this, not a common man.
Hmm.
Just imagine a sales guy saying that this is how I think of a salesman. So imagine the kind of mindset that we have. Now, why does it happen? To coming back to your question, why does it happen? It is because we have created a wrong perception of ourselves. As a salesman, we have created a very wrong perception. Now, if you look back 20, 30 years back, we were just trying to chase numbers. Sales was a numbers game. And let me tell you the truth, sales is not a numbers game. Sales is a relationship game.
All right. That's an interesting perspective.
Yes, sales is not a numbers game. Sales is a relationship game. And once we understand that, the perspective shifts. A perception of somebody who's going to steal money to perception of who's going to add value. That's the shift that we want to bring in. And this has happened because we were just chasing numbers. Thanks to all the movies, there were some movies where we were only talking about numbers, 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 right? If you remember the
Hmm.
movie, I'm forgetting the name of the movie, but there was a famous movie where this guy goes up to the board and says ABC, always be closing. That was the mantra for sales for a long time. And when
Hmm.
you're only thinking of closing, you're only thinking about numbers, you're not looking at the human element in sales, right?
Okay.
If you move from ABC to the modern day ABC, which is always be consulting, not be closing. When you're consulting, you're building relationships, right? So because we are always be closing mode, we are actually not perceived as a right person. The moment we shift the focus from always be closing to always be consulting, bang on. You have your relationships building, your perception is changing. And as Indians, as Asians, I think we need to move out of always be closing to always be consulting zone.
So, what is the kind of thought process that is different from always be closing? So, that's the typical salesman to always be consulting. I mean, it's a new role that we are looking at altogether. So,
So,
what would be the difference in the mindset?
okay, I'll tell you something. The role has been the same.
Okay.
Always we have solved problems. Always we have saved money for our customer. We have done that always,
Hmm.
right? But now when you look at yourself as a consultant, you're more tuned towards building relationships, right?
Okay.
You're looking at going back to your question of what can you just quickly repeat your question?
So, what is the difference between a consultant role? Because ideally, I guess still a majority of us still consider ourselves as sales. It's very difficult to get into a consultant mode because we have a a preconceived notion as, okay, a consultant is at a particular level doing certain things, but I am just selling a product. So what is the difference between the two, that every single salesman also should be thinking of the same job profile as a consultant?
Right. Super. Great. So let me quickly differentiate. So if you're always be closing, you're going to chase numbers. If you're
Okay.
always be consulting, you're going to look for relationships. If you're always
Mhm.
looking at, always be closing as a salesman role, then you will probably look at, how can I make quick money? If you're looking at, I'm a consultant, you will look at
Mhm.
what kind of problem can I solve for my customer, right?
True.
As a salesman, if you're looking at always be closing perspective, then you will look at, okay, ek sale kar lu, mera kaam khatam.
Hmm.
As a consultant, you will look at a lifetime relationship, right? You will look at what else can I do? How else can I value add to my customer?
Hmm.
Right? And when you transition from this always be closing to always be consulting role, you will see amazing things happening. You don't even have to sell. You don't even really have to sell. You don't even have to get into that mode of, okay, abhi objection aayega, I need to handle it.
Hmm.
Right? You don't even
True.
have to go there because your client will love you. Like I say, if you're a typical salesman of always be closing, they'll be like, okay, I see the number, I don't pick up the call. But when you're,
Perfect.
a consultant, they'll be like, okay, guy, this guy is adding value to my business or my life. Let me pick up the phone and talk to him.
Hmm.
Right? So that is the difference that we're talking about today. And
Okay.
sales, like, we solve problems. We got to remember this very clearly in our head. We don't sell, we solve problems.
So where do you think trainers are going wrong in their approach? Because right now all of us, there are a lot of freelance trainers. Okay, and when you say freelance trainers, they are there waiting for business. They try to interact with clients, but somehow it's just about you end up undercutting, or maybe अच्छा ठीक है 10,000 में मिल रहा है काम 8,000 में मुझे दे सकते हो, can I get it at 5,000? So eventually, now obviously we are going wrong somewhere, because at some point in time the industry is going to end up cutting each other in trying to get business.
True.
So where are we going wrong?
All right. So let me share my personal journey a little bit,
Sure.
and then how I evolved into it, and how I think my experience could probably add a little value to the listeners out there. So I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you a little background about me. I worked in corporates for about 7 good years, and then when I decided to move on because of several reasons, I started off, and like any trainer, I just picked up any project, and every project I was doing time management, communication, conflict management. You tell me the topic, I was doing it because I was good at speaking,
Hmm.
right? So it's like you're fish out of the water, you're in the survival mode, right? And you're just
Hmm.
picking up anything and everything, any price and every price. I did free sessions, I did free seminars, I did. So the client would give me a bouquet
Hmm.
and say, come and do a 2 hour session. I'm happy to receive a bouquet and then go back. But look at my pocket and I see, boss, paisa to banaya nahi.
Hmm.
Right? And from there, when I realized that this is not the way that the market can function, this is not the way that I can survive,
Hmm.
or rather I can thrive. I was just surviving there, I was not thriving there, right?
Hmm.
So from there the transition happened. I looked at, what are the few things that I can do differently than the rest of the guys in the market. So I
Hmm.
decided was, I don't want to do all the topics in the world. I want to stick to 1 2 3 maximum, that's it. Don't want to do many topics. And I looked introspected and I understood that something that was appealing me, thanks to my experience, I
Hmm.
was thrown out of a job because of bad leadership, and I
Okay.
decided to pick up leadership as a topic that I wanted to, you know, get my hands dirty in. Right? I read over like 200 books on leadership. I looked at
Hmm.
multiple models. I got certified on leadership and all that, and I was living and breathing leadership. Now, what happens here is this: from a survival mode, I'm moving into a mode where I'm only talking about one thing, and I'm creating demand for my work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, people start associating Sharath is leadership. Sharath doesn't do any training and every training. Sharath doesn't charge just 8,000 or 10,000 bucks. He charges X amount of money, and he only does leadership training programs.
Okay.
So for me, that layering is clear. I don't want to do 10 programs in a month, which is of 10,000 rupees and make a lakh rupee in a month. Instead, I would do one program of leadership once in a month and make 1 lakh rupee. That's effectiveness and efficiency. Right? So that's where I transitioned. And then I looked at, okay, you know what, leadership skills, what else can I do? What else is an area that I hold expertise in? And that's when my transitioning into sales happened. Right? I was doing a lot of sales, you know, a little more story around it. We'll talk about it maybe a little later in the call. But then I started doing sales. So today, if you look at, you know, my clients, they will say, okay, Sharad ko bulana hai. So sales and leadership, he charges X amount and only then we will call. Now that's my story. Now I'll tell you what happened in the entire process and what did I learn. I'll tell you, there are 4 types of mindsets. Yeah, simple. First one is a survival mindset. Whether you're a sales professional, whether you're a working professional, whether you're a trainer, you're a freelancer, you're a business owner, whatever role that you are in, remember there are 4 mindsets. Number 1 is survival, where you're just trying to meet the ends. You're not doing what you're capable of, what your potential is. You're just trying to meet the ends. And most trainers, okay, let me not make this statement right now. Let me complete this entire thing and then I will ask you. Right? Survival, meet the ends. That's it. पैसा आ रहा है, जा रहा है, survive कर रहे हैं हम लोग. We are just doing that. The second type of mindset is an explorer mindset, which is where you try and do anything and everything that is coming your way. You're not a master of everything. You're just trying. So somebody says, okay, let me do, Porsche ka demand zyada hai, so let me get a Porsche certification. Let me do some training for some time. And somebody comes and says, now emotional intelligence is in demand. Let me go and do emotional intelligence certificate. So you're just exploring. You're just trying to latch onto the, you know, low hanging fruits. Right? And then comes the dabbler. The third types of mindset is the dabbler mindset, where you see results, but you don't have a mentor who kicks your butt and say, boss, you can do more. Right? You see results and then you become a little complacent, and then you see results and you become a little complacent until and unless somebody comes and kicks your butt. Right? That's not a great zone to be in. At least it is better, but not a great zone to be in. Last type of mindset is an achiever mindset. Now, achiever mindset is very clear about his purpose. What does he want to do? How can he add value? He looks at 3 things. 1, what am I really good at? 2, where is the money? Third thing, where is the market? He understands these 3 elements very well and he works towards it. He doesn't stick to his ego and say, boss, itna ji liye to kafi hai. He thinks, how can I add value to a lot of people? How can I add a lot of value with my skills? How can I make money as well in the process? Now, these guys, achievers, are not doing charity. They are not doing free sessions. Now, my question to you is, I can go deeper into it as much as possible. In fact, my book, One Invisible Code, I talk about these 4 mindsets, right? But at this moment, I want to take a pause and ask you, tell me, we trainers, and including me, right? I was in that zone some time back, and I'm really, I empathize with everyone, right? Now tell me, which mindset do we as trainers have today? Survivor?
Most are in the 3 categories, I would say: survivor, explorer, and dabbler.
That's it.
Very few would have reached the achiever mode.
Absolutely. So the thing that we really need to do is work on this. We train people on mindset. And that's the agony. We train people on mindset, but we don't follow the mindset that we need to have. We need to really shift that element. And if we don't shift our mindset from these 3 to the top 1 of achiever, we will struggle, we will just make money, and we'll kill each other's pocket. Because you know it, I know it, and people in the industry, people who are listening to this call know it very well. That today what happens, you give a quote of, let's say, 25,000 rupees. The other guy comes and says, sir, main to 10 mein kar dunga.
Hmm.
right? Because each of them are operating in different zone. And then your market is killed. Your your this community itself is not growing. This community itself is becoming an enemy to itself.
True.
I hope I'm making sense.
A lot of it. And in fact, if you want a lot more such kind of interesting insights, I guess you need to get a copy of the One Invisible Code.
Yep, certainly.
So,
Thank you so much.
so one interesting point that you brought out, you were fortunate. All right, I would say that you were fortunate that you could find out the area that you would like to operate in. Many trainers that we find are interested in being in the leadership segment, no doubt. But we also need to understand that the higher you go in the pyramid, the lesser the opportunities. But my understanding is they want to be in that space because they're under the impression that if we train the leaders, we have a direct impact on those who are below them.
Hmm.
But my question is, how do you actually uh, come down to your niche, or how do you identify what is it that I should actually be doing? Is there any process that you could suggest?
All right. Um, can you deliver any training at 3 a.m. in the morning without being prepared, without the need of being prepared? Can you deliver
Okay.
one topic of the of your mind at 3 a.m. in the morning? I just shake you up and I say, you know, deliver karo training abhi ke abhi. Can you do
Hmm.
that? Right? If you can write down 3 topics or 4 topics that come to your mind, which you can deliver like this, that's your niche. There are processes. I don't deny that.
Hmm.
There are processes to identify your niche. There are processes to identify, what are you really, really good at. But I would say, can you deliver a training at 3 a.m. in the morning without being prepared, without, looking at your notes and all that? Can you deliver it? If you can do that, that's the area that you really need to put your heart and soul in. Right? That's one way.
Okay.
Second way, look at your own life. Look at your own life. What is the biggest message that you want to give out as a trainer?
Hmm.
I'm telling you, as a trainer, not as somebody who is picking up a slide from Google and delivering. As a,
Hmm.
like one of my mentor beautifully said it, you know, don't be a messenger, be a message.
It's a beautiful thought. I mean, don't be a
Messenger
messenger, but
is
be a
somebody who will
message.
download the, PPT again with all my heart and soul to, empathizing with all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
But when you download the PPT and deliver, you're just a messenger. But what is the message that you would want to be? If
Hmm.
today, if I look at you and say, when 5 years from now, if I have to remember you, what would I want you to, what would you want me to remember you as?
Hmm.
Right? So
True.
today, my participants would say, "Arey, leadership training kiya tha wahan pe." If suppose you're going into the same company and doing 10 topics, they would never ever say, "Boss, अरे कुछ तो topic किया था इसने."
Hmm.
I hope I'm making sense.
True.
Right? So understand that element, right? Be a message, not a messenger.
So
Third,
identify what
yeah,
you want to be known for.
yes.
Hmm.
You आपका message, again, let me give you an example. To, last job of mine, unfortunately, I was asked to leave.
Hmm.
Right? Shit experience that I went through. I'm sorry, I'm using the word. Not a very good experience that I went through. And I sat back and I asked, what was the thing that was missing in the organization? And I realized that leadership was missing and leadership was a failure. And that's when my message came in, was, if you got to fix the leadership in organizations, because just like me, there were several people who were going through the same experience of not having a right leader in their team.
Hmm.
Right? So when you look back your life, you will have certain instances which will define you. Right? So
Hmm.
look at your life and say, what has been. So I'll give you examples. Yeah, when I work with people, I ask them, like, there was this a girl who called me and said, Sharath, I'm not able to make money, can you tell me what can I do? I said, what are you really good at? We had a conversation for several minutes, and then she said, I'm really good at managing kids, because I have a
Hmm.
kid back home, and I think I've been a great parent. I said, parenting workshop or kids workshop, where is
Hmm.
your heart? She said, kids. I said, now will you make money in that market? First one, you got your message. Second one, will you make money in this market? Yes,
Hmm.
parents are ready to put the money down,
Hmm.
right? Do you think your passion is there? Do you think there is market for it? Do you think there are enough kids out there? Right? All the three things satisfied. Market is there, passion is there, money is there. Do it. That's the place that you have to be in.
No, but actually, while what you're saying is perfectly correct in identifying, uh, creating a niche, no doubt, is the biggest challenge. Because, as you said, when you're at the survivor mode, I guess it's about first, yeah, ghar pe dal roti to aaye. Then after that, we look at the next thing. So, would you suggest that first, whenever you're getting into this space, it's best to have your niche created from day one? Or is it still a good idea that first experiment, because it's not very clear for everyone to
Yeah,
simply have it in them? So,
right.
experiment initially till you get your niche.
True, true. What you said is absolutely right. What you said is bang on. Uh, Mahatma Gandhi did not know his purpose until he was 49.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Only the day that he was thrown out of the train, he realized that my rest of the life purpose is this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, so that's one example to look at. People realize it very late. But my request to you trainers, I started off by doing anything and everything. Don't stop. Try and do anything and everything. But back of your mind, keep it very, very clear that you got to have a niche. If you want to come out of the survival mode, you got to have a niche. And I'll give you a little more thoughts around that if the time permits.
Sure.
Right. So how do I go about it? Make your math. Keep your numbers ready. How much money do I need in a month to survive? Let's say you need 50K, right? So ensure that 50K is coming to you consistently. You do freelancing training, you do digital training, you do whatever kind of a training. Ensure that 50K is taken care of every month without any major hassle. Right? So once that 50K is taken care, right, that big burden in your mind, which is there, the talk between your ears, ki paisa nahi aa raha, paisa nahi aa raha, is taken care of. Now you can think big. Now you can say, okay, 50K is there. I don't do anything. I do a little bit of work. 50K is coming in. Now I need to go and search what is the niche that I want to be in. I cannot play this 50,000 game forever in my life. And this is where a key question comes in. Take a moment and ask yourself, and everyone who is listening to this, take a moment and ask yourself, whatever you're doing currently, do you see yourself doing this the rest of your life? And if you go deeper into answering this question, let's say I'm a trainer who is doing 5,000 ka training or a 8,000 rupees training. So, and let's say I'm just about 28 years old. Right? So I'm going to sit down and ask myself this question. Do I see myself doing 8,000 rupees training for the rest of my life?
True.
If the answer is no, then you got to buckle up. You got to buckle up. Okay, so next question. How long can I see myself doing this? Maybe 2 years, maybe 1 year. We got to answer these tough questions. 2 years, I can see myself doing this 8,000 rupees training per training. And then from 2 years onwards, I need to scale it up. I want to do a 50,000 rupees training. I want to do a 1 lakh rupee training. You got to get this strong answers out. If we don't answer these, this question, honestly, this shook me. And I said, do you see yourself doing whatever you're doing for the rest of your life? And that answer shook me. I mean, I don't see myself doing whatever I was doing at that time. And even today, I ask this question. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's a very simple and a powerful question that you constantly ask yourself, whatever level that you reach.
Hmm.
And the moment the answer is no, then you got to change your game. Then you got to change your game. Every time you got to change your game.
So now these numbers are something that are the starting point. Uh, as a trainer or as one is that you can't look at yourself as a single person. Eventually,
Yeah.
if you want the numbers to go up, what are the other numbers that you feel every trainer or an entrepreneur should be aware of if he wants to do or if he wants to get big in this game?
Okay. So business, let's talk business. How do you make money? You make money two ways. Small ticket, big volume. Big ticket, small volume.
Small volume.
Simple business sense,
Hmm.
right? So from a very training perspective, I would say look at these two numbers. Do you want to do 10 trainings of 10,000 rupees a month, or do you want to do 10 trainings of 1 lakh rupee a month? Right? Effort is the same.
Hmm.
उसमें भी 10 दिन खड़ा होना है, इसमें भी 10 दिन खड़ा होना है,
It's a
right?
bank statement that would be different.
Yes. Effort is the same. Maybe your
Hmm.
intellectual capability will be a little higher and your
Hmm.
delivery style will be really bigger, but I'm going to physically, I'm going to put the same kind of effort. If I have this number in my mind, first number, 10
Hmm.
trainings, 10,000 rupees per month, 10 trainings, 1 lakh rupees per month, right? I need to manage this. Also, second thing, I see a lot of trainers doing 20, 30 trainings in a month. Again, my question, do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life? Your
You
vocal
have
cords will
to
go off.
gradually you have to upgrade.
And there are people who have knee issues, right? Because they are standing and delivering and they brag about it. Boss, मैं 30 trainings कर रहा हूँ, 20 trainings कर रहा हूँ ये month. Sorry, you are draining yourself off. You got to have a team whom you can outsource. I love
Hmm.
taking 10 to 12 trainings in a month, not beyond that. 15 हो गया तो बहुत अच्छा है. Baki, I have my trainers who go ahead and do it, right? And that's when team collaboration comes in. So again, going back to your question, numbers, look at your numbers, high volume, small ticket, right? How do you
Hmm.
want to play around with those numbers? High volume, small ticket, high ticket, low volume. How do you want to play around with those numbers? Second, look at how many days of training do you really want to do. My sincere request, don't do a large number. I have a client whom we love. I mean, they love us and we love them. And the senior trainer there, he often says, one of the things that I regret, Sharad, is
Hmm.
जब मैं जवान था, मैं 20-20, 25-25 trainings करता था महीने में.
Hmm.
And today he has a backbone problem, he has a knee problem. And he says, today I cannot stand and deliver. He's just 55,
Hmm.
right? So these are the numbers. From a very sales perspective, right? I talk about sales cycle, and one must have the sales cycle very clearly defined. One must have the transitioning of the numbers very clearly defined in the sales cycle,
Hmm.
right? So simple. How many prospects are you reaching out per month? Right? From a very sales perspective, how many prospects are you reaching out per month? How many are getting converted into meetings? How many from meetings, how many are getting converted into real business?
Hmm.
Right? And from there, how many are the repeat business?
Generally, what's the ratio out here from a prospect to a converted
Depends on the
clientele?
business. Depends on the business. We have seen people who do 15%. We have seen people who do 40%.
Okay.
Right? And we have seen people who hit almost 50% also.
So
Right?
along, yes.
Yeah.
So along with all these numbers, when for the trainers who are actually they have moved and they've gone up to that level of having the numbers in place, but then when they get out into the market,
Mm-hmm.
they get into this first major roadblock, and that is rejection.
Mm-hmm.
How do you propose that a trainer has to kind of have his mindset all ready for rejection? because this is the most difficult part. I mean, I've done my best. I'm going to deliver, but when I go and try and close a sale, okay, I'll let you know later. And then it's like, oh, damn, 3 meetings, 5 meetings, and you're still at the same thing. So, how would you advise them to go about sales?
Okay, they need to register into my sales workshop. All right, just kidding. But okay, so here's the truth, right? If you want to play big, rejections are part of the game. You will have rejections from the clients. See, if you let's understand this, yeah. आप एक इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे क्रिकेट खेलते हो, if you're playing a game at an international level, you know the rules of the game. The rules of the game is there will be a 6, there'll be a 4, there'll be a no ball. You know the game, right? Nothing comes out of the game, right? Empire will not tell you that this is something which is this is something that Empire will not signal something which you aren't aware of.
Correct.
Simple. We know the game. Sales, we must know the game. Meeting karoge, rejections hoenge. When you think, and this is what I say, there are rejections are part of the game. When you actually think there will not be rejections, when you think, everyone will say yes to me, and that's when you will actually play wrong.
Okay.
That's when you will think, yaar, kya ho gaya? Right? It's part of the game. Don't think I will never get rejected. Dhoni, when he goes and plays, he knows that he will get out. And just because he knows that he gets out, he doesn't stop hitting sixes. Same thing is with us. Any game that we play, same thing is with us in training. When we go and meet 10 clients, a part of rejection is part of the game. Don't think it is out of syllabus.
Broadly, how bad is the number when
Okay,
it comes to rejection?
let me just complete this. Now, rejections, if you think it will never come, it will be a surprise to you. But when rejection comes to you and you're prepared for it, it's an opportunity to you. Opportunity to become better. Opportunity to play the next meeting well.
True.
Right? Don't, if you're not prepared for the rejection, you'll be like, "Hare yaar, rejection ho gaya." You have a next meeting, you will play the game very poorly, and then that meeting is also gone.
Do you have an interesting story that you could share? Something that has happened with you and somehow you've managed it or overcome it or something like that you could share?
There are 2 stories that I'll tell you. Again, top of my mind. Training in the training room, right? 12-13. Delhi, Gurgaon, I'm in a training program. I walk into a training room. I was a Six Thinking Hats certified trainer, 261st trainer in India to deliver Six Thinking Hats training. I walk into the room and there comes this MD. He comes up and says, 55, 60 years old guy, pretty stout, comes up to me and says, if I don't like your training, I am going to walk out. And then he also says this in Hindi, like typical style. Your age and my experience, they don't even match. I have more experience than your age. Now imagine you're a trainer and you want to do meaningful work and somebody comes and tells you like that. I said, okay, thank you, welcome, please be seated, and if you don't like it, you have all the right to walk out. And I did my job. I didn't do anything extra. Unko, just to impress him, I didn't do anything extra. I just did what I'm supposed to do. I trained people. For me, the MD is the same and the participant is the same, or any newcomer is the same, right? So that's one thing. If I would have let that thing affect me, I would have gone. I would not have done justice to the training. And then good thing again. At the end, this guy walks up to me and gives me a hug and say, "I've never attended a training like that." I'm not bragging about myself, but I think we trainer got to have that thick skin at times. Right? Second thing, so that's one experience. It can happen in the classroom. Forget about, you've got the deal, you're in the classroom, and then this happens to you. That's like a bad thing that can happen, but happened and that went well. Second thing, so you just, at the end, during the introduction, you just mentioned something that you didn't reveal my age. I look pretty young. 8 years back, I was much younger, right? So I walk into this meeting, and Hyderabad. I walk into this meeting, and this guy comes and says, looks at me, upar se niche, and then he thinks, he gives me that weird look. Ye bachcha hai, that kind of a look, right? And then for whatever reason, the conversation did not go well, and it ended at a very bad note, right? So it actually went into an argument.
Okay.
And pretty bad, pretty aggressive conversation. And that day, I realized that, okay, my age is one thing, but that day I also understood that you will get such cynics everywhere. Right? For whatever reason, he was belittling me. I had my team member along with me. I asked, was it my fault? Because typically you introspect and ask. But the other guy, my team member, said, no, sir, he was rude to you. Right? And once you understand this, you really, again, develop a thick skin and say, boss, there will be people like this you will meet. You got to really understand that all kind of people will come into your life when you want to play big. And you got to understand this and just move on. Aap ruk nahi sakte ho. You cannot stop. You cannot let one bad meeting affect the rest of the plans that you have for your life.
True.
Right? So these two rejections, or second one was a pathetic rejection. Yeah. And then there are price rejections. Yeah, price rejections keep happening. Your price is too high, too low. Why should we pay you something so much? When there are branded organizations that are doing the same program at a same or lesser price, all these rejections come in. I think what matters at that moment is your conviction. What do you want to tell? And just a quick tip here: negotiation. You need to know your final price, right? If I'm selling a training at let's say 15,000 rupees per participant for a day or for a 2-day program, I need to know that I can go up to 14. You got to have this number in your mind. You don't go into the meeting and then decide ki, okay, theek hai, main 13 karoon, 12, should I play 14, 13? You don't decide then. You decide your number much before, and then you go into the meeting. If negotiation is happening, I will end my meeting at 12 or 13 or 15 or whatever number.
So now that you brought up this pricing thing, right now we are in such a situation where price is the biggest variable.
Right.
Because we've moved into a phase wherein, according to me, not many people are aware of what is happening.
Okay.
So from offline, we've moved online. Now there is no basis for pricing.
Right.
So what we also see is a lot of webinars and all that are coming across. It's flooding the market, and price seems to be the biggest variable. So the moment when you have someone who's offering the same program for 30,000, 20,000, 10,000, 8,000, and some of the reasons that you get is because up to it is online. Abhi to zyada tension nahi hai. 8 ghante ke bajaye it's 2 ghanta. How do you tackle that? I mean, is that a logical reasoning to get customers?
Interesting question. All right. So we're talking about B2B market.
B2B, even B2C for that matter.
Okay.
How important is pricing? Can you really generate sales simply on the basis of price?
Right. Okay. So let's go one step at a time. First one, let me talk about B2B market. We had a meeting yesterday. We had a meeting with one of our clients, and this discussion stopped in month of March because of obvious reasons. And we had a price done almost like we were supposed to deliver the training, and then all of this thing happened. Right. And then yesterday we had a call, and then they said, ab to aapko aana nahi hai, you will save so much. Right. And do you really think that we should pay you so much? You know what I told them? I told
I'd
them,
love to know.
yeah, I told them I'm going to just play with the camera, right? I told them that, do you really want to see what kind of investment have we done to make sure that the trainings are happening at a very effective pace? It's not just me not coming to you. It's not just PPTs that we will do, right? We are in it for a longer game. So we gave them options, something like this. So if you look at this room that I'm seated in, this is
Mm-hmm.
this is a room that we have converted into a studio, right? If you
Okay.
see, there is a mic here,
Mm-hmm.
right? मैं सिर्फ हेडफोन से बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. If you see, I'm going to turn around. Maybe there will be a little dark, right? So if you look at, there is a complete, I don't know how much you can see. There
Mm-hmm.
is a black color curtain,
Yes.
right? And there you can see there is a mirror kind of a thing that is there,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
this entire room, we have converted this entire room into a studio, so
Okay.
that this, our client uh, receive a lot of value from us. They don't just see PPTs running and somebody is giving a voiceover to it. So I told them, see, I invested about ₹1.5 lakh to set up this entire room, soundproofing it and everything. Do you think we are just in it for a smaller game? Right? We are playing this at a bigger level. And we gave them 3 options: sitting down and delivering training like this, standing and delivering. We have a light board animation that we built at home. We can
Mm-hmm.
do that. All of these options is what you have. Now you tell me, how do you want your training to be? We will make it as effective as possible. Now, and because this client was known to me, I told them that, you know what, I have a 3 BHK and have actually let go. I've actually taken 1 BHK, 1 bedroom out from my home. And that's such a big loss for me and my family. And now you're negotiating and saying, boss, paisa kam karo. I have actually lost so much. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Right? And when the client looked at our preparation, the client said, okay, you know what, this guy is in it for a longer time. He's not just going to do 1 or 2 trainings. Even if the lockdown continues for a year, he's prepared to deliver the training program. And we literally sent them sample videos to make them understand what value are we going to create for them. I'm not negotiating price, I'm negotiating value. Right? So we got to really understand that first element. हम लोग value कैसे deliver करेंगे? We're not just going to just put a PPT and just talk. That's not training. Right? We are going to deliver value by activities using the screen that we have. There's so many things that we can do. Right? When we sent pictures, they never negotiated. This is one example that I'm sharing. Now, let's come back to how do you actually negotiate. Now, again, like I say, when you move into a consultant role, you talk about value. How can I add value? When you show value, there's a book, Spin Technique on sales. It talks beautifully about how do you represent value. Talk about value. Don't talk about the time that you're going to put in. Talk about how much value will you create for their employees. And then the price objection disappears. बात भी नहीं करेंगे वो लोग प्राइस के बारे में. Number 1, अगर price objection आती है, right? Let's say price objection comes up, and then they say, okay, your typical statement, your price is too high. My question to them is, in comparison to what? Right? If they say your price is too high in comparison to XYZ company, right? When they say XYZ company, if I know that XYZ company, I can play my strengths. And I say, you know what, I do this. Not just online training, I'll give you coaching, I'll give you assessment, I'll give you all of this. I'll open up my digital platform for you guys. Right? I will create value. I will not talk about price. And this is where sales guys go wrong. This is where I think we trainers go wrong. We talk about price. We need to talk about value. I hope I'm making sense.
It's perfectly what you said. And in fact, I'd like to take it on from here. What is the role when I look at the future, what is the role of digital media in the actual new avatar of the online trainer?
Explain me the question, because it's a very,
So
very broad question.
so now see, the way I look at it, you have taken or you have made serious investment in your entire functioning of your product. All right.
Right.
So now, if we as trainers are going to take our trainings from offline to online, all right,
Right.
it's not only about taking our entire set, our PowerPoints, and say that, okay, now we are going to play around with the camera. The entire online shift has got a
Hmm.
much bigger scope, and
Right.
that
Yeah.
includes the digital presence of the trainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how important is it for you or for every trainer to have that digital presence, whether it's through social media, paid marketing, whatever?
Okay. So I talk numbers. I talk my experience more. So I'll talk about my
Mm-hmm.
experience more. Um Going off the trainer thing that we're talking about, let me talk about what's happening in the industry right now. Right, in the industry right now, if you if you walk out, you will see hoardings empty.
Hmm.
Right, if you look at companies which were doing this big conferences and big melas, where they display their products and all that, that's disappearing. Right,
Even
and there was a
exhibitions. Mhm.
study which was done by Market Chart. Just look it up, guys who are listening to it, marketchart.com. They said all of this budget which was there for this, hoardings and advertisements in various platforms, they're going to pull that entire money and they're going to put it on the digital space. Forget
Hmm.
about trainers for a while. So big companies have pulled out the budget from all this exhibition, budgets and hoarding budgets and all that. They're pulling it down and putting it in on the digital space. If big companies are doing it, we players, we individual trainers or freelancers, we got to leverage technology. That's the only way forward. Right, or I wouldn't say that's the only way. That's one of the major contributor for us going forward. Right,
Mhm.
you got to get your hands dirty in the digital space. Now I'm going to take a moment and tell you something which most trainers don't want to listen to. Like I said, I jo bhi kahunga sach kahunga. Right,
Hmm.
now firstly, stop calling yourself freelancers, call
Okay.
yourself consultants.
Mm-hmm.
Freelancers, look up the meaning of freelancers, free mein latke hue. No, we don't want to be called that. People who are listening, you might hate me or love me for this, but that's the truth. Call yourself consultants. Right, you solve problems. You're there to understand their problems and solve it. Just imagine, you go to a hospital and somebody says, मैं freelance doctor हूं, कैसा लगेगा आपको?
Hmm.
You will not go to him.
Yeah, it's a risk.
Right, call yourself
Hmm.
consultant. Right, firstly.
True.
Second, create your digital presence, build your brand. Today a website and a basic domain doesn't cost you more than about 4-5 thousand bucks. Create that presence. एक website बना लो. Doesn't cost as much, but just imagine, you have a website, you have a PDF download of your profile, right? And you have your LinkedIn and Facebooks and all of that. Pages are created, beautifully done. You spend about 2 hours, you will know how to set up all of these. One of your thing is taken care of. You don't have to, keep thinking, मैं freelance call करूं क्या, free, should I call myself freelancer, should I call myself what? Just put your website up. This is what I'm called for. This is the top, these are the topics that I do. People will get to know you. Going forward, people will know. In fact, even now it is happening. People don't look up anywhere else but the digital space.
Hmm.
Right, so create your digital space. Website, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of them are a must, and maintain it. Just write one message every day and something that you resonate with. Now coming to the sales aspect of it. Now unless you have your website and a LinkedIn page and a Facebook page, you cannot even sell.
Hmm.
You cannot even advertise. Forget about selling. आपका फेसबुक पेज होगा तभी आप सेल कर सकते हो डिजिटल प्रोडक्ट्स, और यू कैन सेंड योर एड्स, you can create your ads, right? So digital is going to be the thing going forward. It's not the ultimate thing, but it's going to be the thing. So please get your hands dirty on the digital space. Now, a piece of warning there.
Hmm.
There is a lot of noise in the market, like you rightly said. Too many webinars, too many people saying that I do this, I do that, and all. With all respect to them, in the noise, be a voice. I repeat myself. In the
Hmm.
noise, please be a voice. It
How do you do
means,
that? Hmm.
sorry,
How do you do that?
yeah, stand out. Stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you have one message, you will consistently talk about that, right? If you're a jack of all trade but master of none, you will just talk about anything and everything on the planet. People will not connect to it, right? Be a voice, stand out. Everyone is doing digital media, become a digital coach and all that. Love it.
Interesting.
Love it. But you
Which
got to
means we
stand
also
out.
need to restrict ourselves to our target audience.
You got to restrict yourself to the target audience. You got to understand, are you in a B2C game or not? You got to understand the game, play it, and be one single message. You cannot have multiple messages. Don't be a noise. There are so many people shouting out on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere saying, I do this, with all the love to them, right? I do this, I do that, and all that noise. Too much of noise, too much of noise. And I'll tell you, noise will disappear as soon as the lockdown opens up and things stabilize. Only people who are the voice will sustain for too long. And it happens
Great.
with
So,
everything. कोई भी चीज नई शुरू होती है, everyone wants to do it. But after some time, you will say handful of people are doing it.
hmm.
Yeah. I hope I'm making sense. I'm just talking
So,
what's on my
so
head.
from so from what I've understood is right from the beginning that we started about having your niche. So the
Yeah.
entire thing now falls into place because you're saying the moment you know exactly the space that you would like to be in, your actions also are corresponding.
Yeah.
Which means at the end of it, your necklace is actually woven or all your pearls are added that actually come into one single thread.
Right.
And at this point of time, the very example that you've given of doctors, I guess we are moving in the age of specialization and perhaps super specialization. Even in the session we had yesterday, Mr. Arun Chitlangia also mentioned the same thing, that
Super.
we need to have outcome based trainings. And when we talk about outcome based, it has to be with depth. I think so we are no longer in the age of living off PowerPoints. Great. So we are kind of short of time, and just to limit ourselves, one last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What would be three learnings
Mm-hmm.
that you have accrued over your entire career that you feel that for every trainer, if he or she would like to get into the space,
Right.
not get into the space, now that that person is in sales, what should he or she do? Three learnings.
Authenticity, number one.
All right.
Nothing sells other than authenticity. Be true to who you are. Like, again, just emphasizing, how much time do we have?
Just about 2 minutes. So,
Okay. So authenticity, walk the talk. Don't be a
Mhm.
messenger, be a message. That means walk the talk. If you're talking leadership, live leadership. If you're talking sales, live sales. If you're talking digital space, live digital space. Authenticity is what sells. You might make money slowly, but you will make eventually, and nobody will turn you down. Right? People will know you for it. It might take time, but people will know you. Authenticity sells. Right? Second message that I want to really give is, you know, don't think of how can I make quick bucks. Look at how can I make bigger impact. Right? So again, in my book, I talk about how much impact do you want to make, how much influence you want to make, and how much income do you want to make. It's in that order:
Hmm.
impact, influence, and income. Now most people do the other way around: income, I want to be popular, that is influence, and then they look at how impactful am I. Wrong path. It's the other way around: impact, influence, and then the income. Last but not
Income
the
is the
least,
byproduct.
yes, it comes eventually. And last but not the least, I think um, unlearn.
Okay.
I think for trainers, it's so very important. So very important that we got to really unlearn and stay grounded. You know, again, when I say the truth, truth usually pisses off people,
Mhm.
right? but but if you have the thick skin to accept it, you will get to know it. A lot of times we trainers, get into that zone. I know it, Baba.
Hmm.
ये मुझे पता है, right? I think that is something that we need to come out of. If you're not doing it, you don't know it,
Hmm.
right? You don't know it. Like we say, an idea is not good enough. Execution is what matters. In the
Very true.
training world, knowing doesn't really matter. What really matters today is, are you living and breathing what you know? So don't get too much into I know everything. Stay grounded, unlearn as much as possible. अगर आप ट्रेनिंग स्पेस में 10 साल से ज्यादा हो, you would have seen the day one and today everything is ulta.
True.
Right? And if you're not ready to unlearn and you'll say, well, wait for, when the sun shines, I will go and start prospecting for my new clients. When the COVID thing goes off, I will start prospecting for my new clients. Somebody else, somewhere else, who's your competitor, who unlearned everything and relearned new things and started prospecting, has already won the game. Right? So
Hmm.
those are the three things. Again, top of my mind, whatever came in, I just said that.
All right. Thank you very much. So, on this note, I guess we have crossed our time, but I've had a wonderful conversation with you, and I'm sure there's been a lot of personal learning also
Thank you.
in this journey of sales. Because, like it or not, we are in this space, and if we know that sales is the only way to make sure that we can actually have a meaningful end, then why do we still hesitate? So, as I take it from you, it's difficult. We have to get mentally prepared for the amount of rejections, but nevertheless, it is possible. So,
Absolutely.
on that positive note,
Can I
thank
just
you very much.
can I just make
Yes,
one sentence,
yes,
one small statement?
sure.
We are talking about economy being not okay today, right? Now, as a trainer, as a sales professional, if you're watching this, it's your moral responsibility to bring the economy back. And you can do it only when you sell. If you're not selling, you are also contributing towards this economic slowdown. So my request, my sincere request to you is sell, because economy will bounce back only if you sell. It's your moral responsibility. That's it from my end.
Beautiful point to end this conversation, and I'm surely this point is going to have a strong impact. So, thank you very much on behalf of the entire team of Conversations That Impact. We would like to thank you, Sharath, for
Thank you.
coming on our show. And viewers, thank you very much for being with us. As informed earlier, please like, share, tag a trainer friend, and make sure that these pearls of wisdom actually get across to as many people as possible. So, thank you very much and have a great weekend. Hope to meet all of you once again next Friday at Conversations That Impact. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.